guys, and welcome to, I guess, the 1 week update of the fire shot. What is it? Explosive shot? What? I don't even know what it's called. Firebomb shot. Firebomb shot. So we're at a point, we're just about to make the transition from non-crit to crit. There is a lot of setup involved with this, so I am going to go through everything I've done and some things I've discovered and some things that are working and not working. And then we're going to actually do the conversion to crit, and that'll be where I leave this video off. And then the next time you'll see me, it'll be when I'm like pushing the end game stuff, the series end game. So let's get into this thing. Okay. So I'm not exactly sure what I had on where we left off, but I'm pretty confident I haven't changed basically anything in terms of my actual gear. I'll go through what I've got and talk about it really quick. The most important thing, this is something. The Transcendent Unchanging Light I got from the event, and if you are playing this build and this is Season 7, absolutely go get this right now. Go get 200 ash or 200 developer souls and get that chest, or 600. Sorry, 600. Man, I'm tired. And get this thing. It is very, very worth it. Incredibly worth it. This is an incredibly powerful bow for this build. Its only major downsides, I mean, obviously, because it's a unique, we can't get some of the other modifiers we want. This fixed max fire energy. Now, I'm not using fire energy with this build right now. Maybe that's something that will come into play later. But for now, this is, it's what I've got. My bowgun currently is just like a thrown together, just like kind of competent bowgun. It's very, very nothing special. Again, I'm sure I didn't change the helmet, the shoulders. I didn't change this ring or the necklace. They're all going to get changed by the next video. But for now, they've been doing their jobs, which is getting my resistances to cap, which is they've done. Getting my dampening up, which they've done. My armor is low, and that is definitely a weak point in this build. It is going to be something I'm going to be addressing in the next part. Dodge is good. We've got some block from our Rune Master. Outside of that, the rest of it is good. We're doing well. The attack speed's getting pretty decent. Armor pen is good. Overall, the build is working really, really well. Obviously, I said I'm going to switch to crit. The other thing I did change is from the event, I took from the seasonal challenge, I took the 3-year anniversary Leo's Footstep boots. They're better overall than the ice shot. I don't know what they're called. The ice shot boots. They're better overall, so I went with them. The next thing I will be doing when I get the 350.1 is taking the belt, because the belt has just a huge amount of survivability, which I feel like I'm lacking to a degree, and I know that belt will be, even if I get bad rolls on it, that belt, in terms of survivability, will be really, really good. Because we won't need this resource cost anymore. I think that's everything I changed in there. The big thing that I've been working on is the charm setup. Because you're going to be switching to crit, this is one of the determining factors in my switch. If I don't have pretty much all of the charms, double crit, okay, so double crit, double crit, double crit, single crit, but crit rate, double crit with maximized, and double crit with strike amp. If I don't have most of those, and I got 2 crit rates on my star, even though this is a throwaway star because it's a 9 and we have access to 10s now, this will do for now. So I get double crit on everything, and I'm going to do a new video on how to do better charm setups, but this is the charm setup I'm using. 230 Hamal, 190 Leo, 140 Cathsor. That may or may not change, but it is really solid for what we want right now. So that's there. In the Zodiac, the really big change is the specialty. I was using over here because I needed the AoE, and now that I've got some AoE in, because of my area of effect runestone, which has really helped this thing get the area of effect that I want. With that, we can make some other changes in the Zodiac, and the big one is the specialty. I've actually gone into the bowgun tree now, and it's because emotional damage. The one of my viewers pointed something out to me that I glazed over, and this is twice this season I've done the same mistake. In the specialties, normally it's this stuff out here you're looking at, right? And in this season, they've changed quite a few things. One of them being, where is it over here? Enlargement. This is massive for melee players, and I didn't even look at this because I was looking down here. And somebody's like, why are you not using enlargement? It's great. And I'm like, well, because I'm stupid and I didn't know what it does. I did the exact same thing with this bowgun where I didn't bother to look in the center because the center skill has never been good until now. So this center skill, Frenzied Bullet, your bowgun doesn't overheat. You never have to worry about cooldown. And because of that, you can just slam overheat into this thing and rapid fire like a motherfucker. And highly recommend. Highly recommend. So I'll show the specialties here. We've gone down to attack speed, resource cost, dampening, which is not a big deal because we've got convert mana anyway. Down into area of effect, again, very important to get area of effect. And we went into uplift. I'm not necessarily sure we're going to stay with this because it's not really, I mean, it's attack speed and a little bit of damage. We might be able to get better elsewhere. I'm not 100% sure because there's some interactions with max overheat later in this that I will do testing with. But I think we might get more out of it. But for now, that's what I've got. In Specialty 2, again, going up into Area of Effect. This is going to, as soon as we change to Crit, these two are going to come out and go up into Sharpness. And we've gone down into Observer because we get some, I mean, we get 24% armor pen and plus 8 flat armor pen on hit, which is really good. That's really strong. So we went down into there. And up here, again, obviously, Frenzied Bullet, we don't worry about overheat. We just slam a thing. So this, when overheat is 80% or more, we're getting 20% damage amp. And then I'm going to put a point into this, which is critical rate per weapon attacks, or per whatever percent of weapon attack speed, which is going to help our crit rate. I don't think it changed much else in the Zodiac right now. Again, if you want to look at the character, it is what, Mike Type X S7 for Season 7 for the rest of the changes. Now, I will be making more changes in there as I get things. I'll be dropping dampening from the Zodiac and replacing it elsewhere. Right now, I'm using a very crappy Lacrima with a shield and a chest, but I'm using it because it's got, I can get some very basic damage taken dampening in here, which is really good for right now. Just damage taken decrease, resource cost dampening. It's all pretty just basic stuff in there. The other things we are going to change, did I already talk about them? Or I think I talked about them in a section that's probably after this section in the video, but anyway. So we're obviously switching crit. We're going to be using a crit base bowgun, which I talk about later. We're going to be switching the ring to Cassor's Refraction, the persistent seal to seal of striking, and then the two non-crit things to outlaw and extract earth energy. And then in the Zodiac, obviously, we're going to be switching distorted senses to elaborate attack, but that's just switching to the top row. I don't think much else in the Zodiac will change when we switch to crit. But there's that. The Relic, I think I made changes in here. Did I? I don't know. I don't remember what I had. But anyways, we're going with currently Overpower, which is just very strong. Highly recommend. And Enhance Hit Points. Again, survivability, a little bit weaker than I would like right now, but I will be making changes to the gear, and that's going to help a lot. Castor for the area of effect, and we're going to go into Leo to get enhanced attack speed, but I doubt I will be keeping this. I feel like we're going to hit attack speed cap very quickly, and this won't be an issue, especially with the new bowgun. It's got a lot of speed on it. Is that everything for the Switch? I think that's all the changes I've made. So the next is I'm going to do the bowgun build that's already here. I'm going to show you that. And then I'm going to make all the changes, and we're going to do damage test before, damage test after, and see how it went. Okay, so I don't know where this is going to be in the video. I'm recording this probably very out of order. But we're going to be switching this build to crit now. And one of the biggest things we need for that is a bowgun with crit. So we're using the Clever Infiltrator bowgun. It's a T34 crit rate bowgun. We're going to be going very, very basic with the mods on it. We don't want to get too nuts here because we're early on. We don't want to waste a bunch of resources on something that's not going to stay. So what we're going to be going for here is weapon speed, hit point absorb on attack hit, which we don't want. We want to get it elsewhere, but right now this is our only place we can get it because we can't get it on a second bowgun because our second bowgun is the unique. So we're going to be getting those 3 prefixes, and then gear critical rate is the absolute most important mod on here for a crit build. We have to get this, especially because the crit rate on the other one is going to be fairly low, and it's going to average the 2, so we're going to work with that. So outside of that, the other 2 suffixes, we've got a whole bunch of options that we could hit that would all be good. Critical damage would be good, physical damage would be good, attack damage would be good, or maximized damage would be good. Any of those, but this one needs to hit the maximum value for us, which is tier 12, so 120%. We're gonna start with the hardest to get mod, okay, which is the physical, and we're gonna go from there. So we're gonna Alyssa just to make our lives a little easier. Physical damage. Oh wow. Never mind. I was I was going to go with the damage on hit, but I just hit really good solid mods without having to Vesper or anything. We're just gonna take that. We're completely changing gears here. We'll get our hit point on hit somewhere else. I'm sure there's other sources of it I can gain. So we're gonna work on the suffixes now. So again, we're gonna be using the suffix birth options and or suffix birth essence and suffix removal. If I need more of these, I do have other sources. So we'll just start from there and go. Give me. We'll edit that part out. Okay. So if I need more option removals, I've got a couple other sources. We can get them in the disassemble shop. We can get them in the ore shop. So we're going to start with this and see if we can get, again, tier 12. Maybe we can get away with tier 11. But we're going to go and see if we can get our weapon crit rate, which is very, very important. If we hit a high value on one of the other mods that we want, we will probably roll it. And it's important to note things like if we get poison damage, it blocks physical damage. So if we were really trying to get that physical, we wouldn't want that. We got a high critical roll, so we are going to try and immediately remove that. Maximize damage again wouldn't be bad, but it's not a primary priority. There's our gear critical, but it's very low. And we need it to be high. I could maybe settle for an 11. Attack damage 13. Now that's a really good roll. And it's gone immediately, of course. Because fuck me, you know? Another low gear critical. High critical damage, though, so we will immediately remove it. You can't make this shit up. You can't make this shit up, guys. Oh my god, gear critical. Come on. Come on, gear critical. Don't be a dick. Again, we've got 2 of the 3 mods, so we're gonna try to get rid of the projectile. It's not gonna work, though. Again, a 10 crit, we'll keep going. Come on. Physical, again, solid. Oh, there goes the crit. I don't think it's worth trying to continue on that, though. Attack damage, gear critical, but not high enough. Now, if I had a lot of Vespers, for something early on like this, I could try to Vesper this if this mod happens to land as something good, I might try to Vesper this, but we'll see. It's dependent on if I get rid of that and get something decent. There, okay, so never mind, we're gonna Vesper this because we got all of the mods we would prefer to get. So the most important thing to hit high here is gear critical rate. Number 2 would be physical. Number 3 would be attack. Or attack or attack percent. But we got 17 Vespers, and we can get a few more if we had to. So we're gonna go for it here. Gear critical 11, 13, 13. We might just take that. That's really good. Yeah, we're going to go with that. We're going to take it. Again, I would spend more resources on something like this if I knew this weapon was going to stay with me for any amount of time. But I know this is not something I'm going to be keeping long term. This is probably going to last me, 2 weeks or something. And until I can get a T35, until I can get, higher level stuff. This just needs to get me from where I am currently doing 145s to getting to do 165s. Actually, 161 up. So I can get 35s. So yeah, we're going to take this. So now, obviously, I mean, we need to do quality. We need to do... Actually, here, let's just do quality. We're going to do 10... I should probably just do like 9 or 8, but because we're gonna get screwed on this anyway. No matter what, no matter what I get, it's gonna be like, oh, that's great, but it's gonna give me like a negative value. It's gonna make the weapon worse. We'll get the quality here. Again, some of these materials are not a big deal. I'll get quality birth essence coming out of my ears later. So using it now on a weapon that'll probably last me for a couple of weeks. And then we can, we're gonna legendary. We'll probably craft on this as well. In a perfect world, we would craft the attack damage into physical damage, and it would give us a lot. But let's see if we can get even remotely lucky here. If it gets through this 100 and doesn't hit 10, we're gonna drop it to 8, because that's a much higher chance that it'll hit it. It's a 10 anyway. Okay, of course. 18. Okay, solid. So we're gonna legendary. Now, in a perfect world, there's a lot of stuff we would like to get here. If we got weapon speed, that's great. If we got physical damage, that's great. Armor pen suffix is good, but not great. The thing we'd really like to hit here is gear critical rate. Even weapon attack damage would be good. Obviously, weapon damage. Like, there's so many good things in the suffixes. So hopefully we hit something halfway decent. Now, I do have reversions, and I might consider reverting this, depending what we end up with here. 7.6 speed. For the moment, that's solid. We're not going to worry about that. The other thing we do get to put on here is an authority, and the best one almost always is going to be the, what is it, Sefdar? Sefdar gear item quality, because it's going to directly affect the weapon damage. So we're, I mean, obviously going to go for that. The other option in the case of this build would be the area of effect. The more area of effect we get, the better our 3 attacks will overlap and give us more damage. Did I click the wrong one or something? What? No, it's just being a jerk. Okay. Hey, there we go. 6% item quality. So now we're going to go see what our options are, what we've got material-wise for crafting. And hopefully we've got enough to make it worthwhile. So again, we're going to try to do the attack damage into physical damage, because this mod will roll as high as this. So like you can see that this went to 135 to 169, and that's in the 13 range. It's like getting a whole extra mod if we can hit it. Question is, we've only got a few things here. We're going to try for it anyway, and hopefully we hit, you know, what we want. Now the thing is, if we hit a flat damage that is, okay, we just got hit right. If we had hit poison damage like I had initially hit there, that will still give us something. Because we're using Hamal, all our damage gets converted to physical at 80% value. So we would get 80% of that value. So if you do happen to hit one of those, you can go with it. Now the last thing we can do here is put on a jewel, and we will. We're probably going to end up having to see exactly what we need, but we might end up with a white jewel or something. But I'm not going to bother doing that in here because it's something that I got to look at the rest of the gear. But there we go. We've got our crit-based weapon, and I think we have everything else ready to go as well to switch to crit, because we're going to be switching the... No, I do not have everything. I need these. I'm just going to get this right now. Even though this is part of the weapon section, we're just going to go ahead and get it right now. Skill rune. You... and Seal of Strike. Okay, so what we're going to be doing for the next chunk here, we're going to be switching to crit. So our weapon is going to switch to obviously the crit weapon. The Band of Certainty is going to switch for the Cassor's Refraction to give us more crit rate. We're going to be switching Seal of Persistence for Seal of Striking. We're going to switch Persistence for Outlaw, and we're going to switch Smash for Extract Earth Energy. After all that's done, I'm going to do a damage test and see, hopefully, if I'm doing more. Yeah, I think that's everything for this section. Okay, all the conversion is done. Let's take a look at the results. We went from 1.7 billion to 3.1 billion. Obviously, there's a lot to still work on here, but obviously this is very, very positive. Yeah, there's actually, I just realized there's still stuff in the Zodiac I didn't even change. I forgot to change the thing to call it from here to here. I still got to get the other point to go down there. But yeah, it is much better already. Now we need to focus on the defense end of it while we improve the rest of it. Now, we are going to be working on, obviously, getting more crit rate and more crit damage. We're going to get ring and necklace set up. We're going to get defensively. We're going to get a new shoulder because we don't need this resource cost dampening. So we'll probably get something with area damage or whatnot. We need to get a new pair of gloves with some attack speed and stuff, and just kind of progress from here. Very happy with the results. A lot of work, obviously, still to do, but clearly this is the right direction to head. Yeah. Okay, so I've gone through and I've crafted myself some, the rest of my gear, more or less, except for my helmet. So I did my shoulders, chest, gloves, ring, and necklace. I still need to grab a helmet and do that, and I will be doing that here in a minute. I didn't record those because I didn't know exactly what I was doing, but there are going to be 2 links in the description that start the live video where I do my shoulders, my chest, my gloves, and then a separate link for my necklace and ring. You can go watch those. I don't know how long they are because I didn't cut them down and try to condense it or anything. If you want to see how I made those. With those changes made, my armor is now very solidified and good. My resistances are all shored up. My dampening's good. My dodge is good. My block's good. Overall, I've got the build working really well. We still haven't made hardly any changes to the Zodiac. I will be making changes, but overall, the thing is working great. The downside, the one issue I currently have is because we are using convert mana in the first special Zodiac, I'm having a little bit of trouble maintaining my health. So what I'm going to do to solve that as I go and get the helmet video done as well, is I'm looking for a Lacrima. Now, the temporary Lacrima we've got in here is literally temporary. What we are looking for specifically as our next step Lacrima is going to be one with a one-handed weapon. So we can put, it doesn't matter what the weapon is, but we want to get additional damage of some sort, probably cold, life on hit, and then whatever other good modifiers we can get. A secondary thing we would really, really like to get in our Lacrima is more, so like, again, a chest piece would be good, obviously with a much better conversion rate, so we can get damage dampening, hit points, that kind of thing. If we get a third thing with that, it's going to be great, but right now I'm just going to go and get the helmet and the Lacrima, hopefully, and then I'll come back and I'll do this section, and then we'll do a final overall damage test. Now, the previous damage test that I just showed, I'm already substantially above that with the changes I've made to my gear. Of course, it's not going to actually show my damage test, but I'll do a final damage test after I grab the helmet and craft it, which I will do, I'll do a proper part in this video, and the Lacrima and what I'm going to put in there. Really loving the build so far. It's doing really well. Fixing the weaknesses has really, really helped. I'm pushing 151s quite comfortably now. I could definitely do harder, but I want to deal with this life issue first. So here we go. Okay, so we've got our helmet. Now, when it comes to helmet, there's not a lot of really good T34 modifiers. There are, realistically, the only thing that we care about here, because dodge rate obviously isn't bad for us. Barrier we don't really care about, but there is no dodge armor. I think there's an armor barrier version of this that I would probably take over the dodge, but for now, because it's not something we're keeping forever, we're going to go with dodge rate barrier. Obviously, the armor penetration is going to be very good for us, so that's what we're going to be going for as a implicit value. Now, what we're putting on here doesn't change much between pretty much any build. There's not a lot of builds that other than like Minion or Sentry or something that would use different here. So what we're going to be looking for our suffixes, we're going to be getting the Akuben, so we can get enhanced skill rune, cooldown, recovery speed. Outside of that, for now anyway, all we're going to be doing is the 2 hit point modifiers. Then our suffixes, we're going to switch the authority to Capri so we can get skill rune effect, enhanced skill rune effect and critical damage. And then if we happen to get totem, we can use that to craft into skill rune effect. But we're not going to be going too deep into this because this is just a temporary helmet. So let's start by getting the Akuben authority. Bam, we've got Akuben, and now we're going to roll until we get enhanced skill rune effect and one of the 2 hit points. So either hit point or hit point percent, and as long as we get 2 of those, we will continue to roll. Okay, so we got 1 and 2. And blind dodge. Now, blind dodge isn't terrible because we can craft that into crit rate or crit damage. But here, because we're starting very basic, that's not something we want. Now, we could try to use a prefix removal and hit it. And you know what? We will. And we didn't get it. So we're just not going to continue. Reroll again. Doop, 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 doop. Till we get 2. Okay, so we've got 1 and the reflect. So we'll try to remove the reflect, remove the thing, right back to the other. Now, typically this process doesn't take too long, and depending how picky you are about the second modifier, or the third modifier, sorry, you can generally, so if I happen to get a high value percent and a high value this, I might say screw it, I don't really care about the third one, because then at that point you're not wasting a Vesper to try and re-roll them to be good, which is probably what I'm going to end up doing here. Bling, 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 bling. Okay, so we got all 3. Cool, we're going to remove these suffixes, and we're going to hit it with a Vesper, and hopefully get... No, I haven't got all 3. I just wasted 2. I jumped the gun. We've got the 2 hit points, and we have to try to get the third. No, so that's not... It's okay. I'm going to cover it up, because no one's going to see this part. I'm just going to speed through it. Hit point, hit point. Dexterity. Okay, so now we've got our 3 prefixes. We're going to remove the 2 suffixes. And we're going to Vesper to try and get... the most important one here is the enhanced skill rune effect, and I always check. It can go up to 13, and ideally that would be our goal here. The other 2, while important, aren't nearly as important, so if I get a 13 on this and like halfway decent on these 2, I'll take it. So there we go. Beautiful 13, 11, 13. And now we switch the authority. So we're going to put on a legendary upgrade essence. We're going to change the authority to Capri. And then we're going to reversion. Okay, now we're going to try to get our suffixes. Again, the most important of which here is the enhanced skill rune effect. The other one would be crit. And since this is not a piece I'm going to be keeping, I'm just going to take that. That is very good luck on my part. Now, the 5% critical damage doesn't seem like much. The upside here is if you re-roll this, it can re-roll into physical damage amp, which is something we want. Again, for a temporary piece of gear, this is really good. We're super happy with that as a result. So now we're going to legendary it for real. As always with pretty much every piece of gear, when it comes to your legendary prefixes. Hit point, element resist are both good. And suffix in this case, dampen resource cost would be really, really nice here. It's a lot of dampen resource cost. Damage and stat percent is also good, as well as hit point. So it's pretty good chance we'll get something decent here. And we got armor, gear dodge, armor, gear dodge, gear barrier. God, I can't talk. Which is not the worst thing in the world. The last thing, as always, is figuring out what our authority modifier is going to be. I think there's one that does something with... Let's see if I can... Yeah, maybe I'm totally wrong. I thought there was one that did something with your thing. I guess not. Okay. So we've got options here. We could do just like straight strength, which we will probably do. You could do your item quality, which would give you a little more dodge and a little more barrier, but not really enough to be honestly worth it. There's also, I swear there's one that's item drop rarity. Item drop rarity is also a pretty good one, and in fact, you know what? In this case, because this is temporary, I'm going to go with item drop rarity and hopefully get it here, since I am low on... You know what? I'm just going to take the stats for now. As always, we got to roll for some quality, even though, again, this piece of gear doesn't have particularly important stats, because the dodge rate's really the only thing that we care about. The barrier, while not bad, is not going to be particularly helpful in this build. We always roll for quality. I just realized I didn't put quality on my gloves. I'll fix that. So there's that, and then we orange and try to get something competent. Generally, I just kind of go anything above 10. There we go. 10's good enough. So now all we have to do is throw a jewel on here, and this thing is good to go. Compared to my other helmet, we are going to lose some resistances, but my resistances are in such a good place, I don't think this is going to drastically change it. It is going to give us a lot to work with, but there we go. There's the helmet temporary that I'm going to be using for now. Sadly, I have not been able to acquire a lacrima to finish that up, but I also want to get this video out as a progression video for the people that are following along. So this is where I'm going to end for this, I guess, week of playtime. Again, we're about 5.8 billion DPS. I haven't made many changes to my rune board. That's something I'm going to be working on this week. Also, we're going to be trying to finish up getting a lacrima and getting that sorted out. We have a few jewel slots still to fill in, but I'm going to run some mines this week as well. Overall, the build is doing really well. I'm very happy with it. Obviously, if you have any questions about where you should go or anything that I left out in the video, feel free to let me know. Anyways, that's it for now, and I'll see you in part 3.